Welcome everyone to the Turbo Ether News, and we're going to go right into it. The Division, most successful new game launch, has sold more copies in its first 24 hours than any other Ubisoft game.
The hype is real. People were really excited about this when it was revealed at E3 X amount of years ago, whenever that was, and I guess what really won people over actually was the beta that they did. I think people were a little bit skeptical about this due to even with like their last kind of big budget game, Watch Dogs, which is along the same vein of this. I think people were kind of a little disappointed with that, so they were a little apprehensive, and then the open beta kind of sold a lot of people, and it was a good move on their end because it paid off.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Those were some of the things that really took off. I mean, it could have been one of those games that could have faded off into obscurity, it could have been canceled, could have had some serious development issues and then just kind of fade off as far as being half finished. But again,
could have been Watch Dogs 2.0.
It could have been.
Which is forgotten now, and it was along the same lines, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually been playing this a little bit, and it is fun. And more importantly, it works, which is great. For an online game, it launched midnight a few days ago, or last week, I guess.
Yeah.
And there was some queues and some problems with the servers, but that really lasted about an hour. And then after that, everything kind of worked well, which Blizzard should be taking a note from this, because every game launch that they have is never playable for the first day, even week, dare I say.
No way. Well, the way I see it is that they're kind of they're really taking advantage of the Destiny crowd as far as giving them something to do until the next update.
Mm-hmm.
Or, people could really just feel like this now, but once, the user base hits that grind wall, so to speak.
And that is the case here. It's got that Diablo 3 feel to it, which is fun if you play through it the first time. You get some friends involved, but then once you are done with the main mission, they do have this open area where you go in and it's just endgame content.
Yeah.
And I could see that kind of dying down a little bit and then saying, okay, there's nothing else left to do here. On to the next thing. So I don't know if it's going to have the staying power of, popular online games, but it's fun. It's worth the $60 for sure.
Well, they say... God, that's so shocking for you to say that.
Yeah.
But the thing is Ubisoft Massive, I believe, is the developer. They've really been listening to the community, so to speak, so maybe they'll keep something going, maybe give people a reason to keep playing. But funny enough that you mentioned that Blizzard has janky launches. Was that the case for Hearthstone?
Actually, Hearthstone is not immune from this problem. I remember the first adventure that came out, actually, which was Shade of Naxxramas. They actually did have some server issues, which is weird because it's like a card game. Yeah. So speaking of Hearthstone, actually, good transition that you brought that up. They just announced a new expansion for that, which is called Whisper of the Old Gods, which comes out late April, early May. And along with that comes their format changes, which was inevitable at this point. They have all these new cards that they keep introducing. They're not going to be able to keep up the player base of casual people getting in there and actually having fun with this. So they're eliminating some of the first two sets of cards when this new set comes out in this kind of new format that they're doing. And I know you've complained actually about the amount of cards that are available in the card pool right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's people that are just getting certain legendaries, and from the last expansion, people are hoping that they could stock up on some gold and make sure that they can keep up with everyone else that's willing to throw down the money. I saw they have a little pack of some sort, or kind of bundle where you pay $50 for X amount of packs. 60
you get a card back. Woo!
Yeah, the card back too. So
yeah, they always do that. They always do that every expansion and every adventure. They give you a little bit of incentive to pre-order the thing. And the issue is not the amount of cards that they have, because any card game needs new cards every X amount of time to keep it new and healthy. It's how to get newer players access to some of the older cards, so they could, get up and running and be somewhat competitive and not get dominated on ladder or even on casual.
Yeah.
So they need to figure out a better way to get these cards more accessible rather than just crafting for it, because they do have some things that they do, you could do arena, you get random cards here and there, or at the end of every ladder season, depending on your rank, you get some gold cards. But I think that's still not enough.
Yeah, because you mentioning that, that sounds fair and all, but you just have to be pretty good at the game to get those kind of things. You know, if you don't really make any progress as far as like how well you play, you're not really gonna get that much in return. So I guess it's a little bit of toss-up.
Yeah. Speaking of progress, we have a progress update on an upcoming Wii U game.
Yes, that is correct. I like that transition too. We're gonna make a brief mention on the Zelda Wii U update. So the most recent issue of Famitsu, the series producer, Aonuma, he was questioned about certain things and. Like as far as like maybe the update on the game, and he basically had a few choice words, one of them being that he's just plain old busy.
There is a quote here that is getting some attention.
Yeah, that's what. So if you can lay down that quote that pretty much took the buzz around the internet for the Western audience, what was it, Dimitri?
This time the change in flavor will be like going from Japanese food to Western style food.
Perhaps players will be surprised, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Meaning
Elder Scrolls Zelda? What?
Yes, meaning there will be regenerated health, a cover system, bullet sponged enemies. Can't wait.
I see. Well, I think the Japanese are starting to recognize that it is the way of not action RPG, but Western RPGs are really the game of choice these days. So
yeah, I mean they gotta look at the fact that Fallout 4 sells millions and millions of copies, or not Fallout 4, but anytime a new Fallout game, anytime a new Elder Scrolls game comes out, they sell millions and millions of copies. Well, gee, I wonder why that is, because people really like the gameplay elements of these games.
But that doesn't mean you have to take away from the formula that always works. Maybe they could surprise me, but I think you gotta mention there's games like Witcher 3 as well, which you could probably mimic that, as far as if they want to go like the open world route.
But they are trying different things. Even look at A Link Between Two Worlds with the way they did their dungeon progression. So they are trying new things, and I think this is just another step in that.
Yeah, it's just the one thing that people are wondering is is Link going to have dialogue this time around?
Or is Link going to be a girl?
We'll leave it at that. I have no comment. But the biggest question is, will it be slated for this year?
No, it's going to fall on the NX along the lines of Twilight Princess.
Well, no, yeah, it's gonna
but NX is supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, it's coming out this year, so
it might be a launch title for that.
E3 is, needless to say, going to be pretty huge for Nintendo because there's going to be a lot of reveals. And when I mean a lot of reveals, NX and Zelda's tentative release date. So.
No doubt.
And I think that's going to go ahead and wrap this up. So, folks, don't forget, like the video, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and follow us at Twitter, at the Turbo Ether. We're pretty relevant in that, and we have fun putting out either songs that we like to listen to, video game music, or certain quotes of the day. And
very
go ahead,
inspirational.
Yes, absolutely. And Facebook.com/TurboEther. And on that note, folks, take care, and may the Triforce be with you. Man, Zelda better not disappoint.